Welcome to our video series on the startup journey. We all admire the success of startups and we all know about the success of startups, but a lot of hard work and sacrifice goes into it. A lot of founders put in a lot of hours to contribute to the success. This is especially true for the startups that work with the low and the moderate income segments. Through our series, we want to bring the personal stories, motivations, and different challenges of these founders and the startups to you. These founders have received support from the Financial Inclusion Lab and CIECO, hosted by the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. You can know more about the Financial Inclusion Lab and get to know more about these startups by clicking on the link in the description box. Please state your name and the name of the startup.
Hi Shweta, my name is Sonal Agrawal. I'm one of the founders of an organization called Lakshya Inclusion.
Okay, so what does Lakshya do? Can you tell us a bit about Lakshya?
So at Luxure, we are building solutions for savings, insurance, primarily targeting urban underserved.
Okay, and when you mean urban underserved, can you talk a little bit about the segment?
At Luxure, when we started, we were targeting auto drivers in Bangalore. And then we also moved towards delivery boys and executives. And later on, we shifted more towards handloom and handicraft. So after delivery boys and executives, after pandemic, we shifted more focus towards rural and semi-urban areas for artisans, weavers, karigars, these kind of segments.
Okay, that sounds interesting. So before we get into the whole journey of Lakshya and how you started out, can we talk a bit about how you came to be an entrepreneur? What were you doing before this, and how did you get into this?
So before starting Luxure, I was working with MicroSave Consulting and Basics Consulting, primarily in the financial inclusion space. My main work involved customer research around how the usage of financial products can be improved in lower income segments. And during my research, I observed there are multiple options for credit and payment space. There are a lot of organizations, but there's a gap for the savings, investments, insurance, and right now people are using credit as one of the solution for solving all kind of financial problem. So that kind of motivated me to start something in the space of savings and investments. And then when I moved to Bangalore, I saw a lot of innovations happening in this space, India Stack coming up. Then there was a Geo which was there, and it has increased the internet penetration and all. So I felt it is the right time to do something in the investment and insurance space. So that's how I started.
Okay. And given that you have an understanding of the financial services space, what exactly do you think was the trigger for you to start something of your own? How did the entire jump happen?
So I always had this inclination to start something of my own, and in the past also I have done some experimented a bit with handloom and handicraft. I was dealing with the artisans for chicken curry business and all. So this was there that I want to do something of my own, and then because I had this background of financial inclusion, so I thought, okay, something I can start in this space. That kind of triggered.
Okay, so if we are to dig a little bit deeper into this, what exactly do you think was the factor?
I can say is one of my own personal financial habits also. So I realized that I was earning when I was having a normal job. I was earning quite well, but when I was looking at my savings, it was not there that much. And one of the reasons I could came up that there was no proper financial planning, and there was no someone to guide which products to invest and how much to invest and all those things. So that's where I thought that this is the same problem which happens for these people also, and they also require some solutions. And then I came across this concept of liquid mutual funds, where people can save as low as rupees 5 rupees, 10 rupees. So that gave me an idea that this can mimic our gullaks, which people keep at home, especially these ladies. They save 5 rupees, 10 rupees in the dabbas. So can we come up with a digital solution for that? And with the Geo now, everyone has a smartphone, especially in urban areas. So I thought, can we do that? And one of the other things when I came to Bangalore, which I noticed, that people take a lot of credit to pay the school fees.
Correct.
And when we calculated, the school fees is generally 35,000, 50,000 rupees, which when we break it down into daily savings, it came that if people save at least daily 200 rupees or 100 rupees, they can easily save for the next year. And these instruments are missing. So that kind of motivated me.
Okay. So, working with the low and middle, moderate income segments, what do you think are the specific challenges in this segment? So, you've already mentioned awareness is a very big issue. What else do you think was the challenge?
So one of the other challenges is the lack of trust. And when I started working, I realized that many times it's not affordability is the issue. They require different kind of products, but more than affordability is the lack of awareness and the lack of trust, which deters these people to try various investments or insurance options, and they want to go for their tried and tested chit funds or something which their community people are already using it, because they have bad memories of insurance, because agents have duped them, told them something else. So that is one challenge. We realize that whatever product we work on, we have to inform the customer, ensure that the customer understands the product completely well, and that's when we see they start using the product, because that's where the trust issue is there. The other second issue that we face is that there's a constant supply side challenge. Like for example, when we started with mutual funds, so now SEBI came out with regulations where they removed Aadhaar as the only KYC instrument. So we faced a lot of challenge in the field because people don't have PAN card. Then a new SEBI regulation came where they made email ID as mandatory. Now the segment that we are talking don't have their own email IDs and all. So some of these side challenges are there, which I think regulators and all need to be also cognizant. The fact that we are talking of a different segment and their behaviors and needs are different, and that is the challenge we face with insurance companies also. Sometimes their claim processes and all are so lengthy or so difficult. It's not feasible for someone who have just done, say, 5th standard or 10th standard to fulfill those compliances. So these are some of the challenges that we face from the supply side, and that ultimately deters these people to take up these products.
Okay. That sounds very challenging, but at the same time, I'm sure it is fulfilling to work with these segments. So coming back to your journey as an entrepreneur, where exactly, or how exactly do you think, or did you think that your startup could play a role here? And my question is more on in terms of the team that you work with, or the support that you have in terms of the people with you. So can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you get into building your team?
So one of the lessons that which I learned while building the team was that hire people, especially in the senior management or core team member, who believes in your organization's vision and the objectives or the problem that you are set out to do. Because one of our experience has been that I have hired a person uh, who like said that savings has the challenge, we should do credit. Then there was a mismatch. So that's what, and if it is happening at a senior management core member, so that it ultimately even affects the team below. So that is what one of the learnings that we should, especially when we are starting initial, the initial team should be aligned with the organization's objective and they are passionate to achieve that objective. And then ultimately, when I coming to your question, uh, what triggered, and so when we started with, and we saw people are saving 200 rupees daily, and they are finding it a convenient instrument, and some of them have saved 10 to 20,000, and which helped them in the COVID wave. That kind of gave us the confidence that okay, this problem needs to be solved and we should stick to this.
Okay. Going back to your first question on, first response on, clarifying the objective or having that clarity in terms of, what the objective is. How did you ensure that? Like, how do you make sure that the team, is aligned in terms of the objective?
So after this mistake that we had, because initially when we were hiring, very few people wants to join the team. You don't have a brand name and all. So at that time, one of the mistakes that I did, or as an organization did, we were looking for the other brand name. So we got a people, who were coming from certain reputed NGO. So we thought that this could be a better alignment and all. Then, but later on, we figured out that okay, brand name, skills, colleges are important, but at the same time, how strongly this person feels, and it shows up in working with them in maximum 1 or 2 months, that how much this person, you know is aligned with your objective. And one of the quicker example I can give you is, because we were doing in the savings and insurance space, whichever staff of mine, because they were coming from a similar background of lower and middle, whichever staff of mine subscribed to the Luxure products themselves without us forcing them, that showed that they are aligned to the organization's objective and mission, because they themselves feel that savings and insurance is important. And whereas the staff which do not subscribe, and even after a reminder, it gave us a picture that okay, for this person this is just a job. He doesn't believe that savings and insurance is important. And
Right.
and slowly we weeded out such people.
Okay, that is an interesting
So now my
self-observation.
philosophy is, if we are working in the savings and insurance, if my team is not subscribing to the products, and if they are not able to give me enough reasons, why they have not subscribed, and if they have not asked me, okay, if my products are not good, what option I should bring to solve their problem. If is not happening, so it shows that they don't believe in what the organization is trying to do.
Okay.
And it translates also in their customer behavior and experience, because the team members who have subscribed to the products, who themselves are doing the savings and insurance, we have got a good customer reviews for those staff, where the customers have told us that we have done savings with Luxure, or we have done insurance with Luxure despite having several options in the market, other fintechs, because the customer service person explained us clearly. And this customer service person is able to do this because this person has themselves used the product and they're confident.
Right.
So, and they are more transparent in explaining the features.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it boils down to building that trust and creating that confidence in your
And one of the other things that we have tried is that for the initial team members who are joining, we have tried to be very transparent with them, and tried to involve them in all kind of decision making when it comes to what product we need to launch, which geography to launch. So many times we give our customer service people and the sales team to decide and come up with their reasons, which geography, which product, whether SBI Care, what product we should launch.
Right.
So that also helps them. They feel more empowered. They feel okay, they have a say. They take it more as their own company.
Okay. Okay. So this was more on the team side or on the professional end, but I'll be curious to know a little bit about your personal life. How has the whole entrepreneurship journey sort of impacted your personal life, and has it made an impact in the first place? And what do you think have been some observations from that?
So on the personal side, first one has to get used to the fact of no regular salaries. You have to take. So so that made me more disciplined in my financial planning, because earlier when I was getting regular salary, I can be like a little bit reckless in the planning, but now I can't. So that discipline I have to ensure in my personal life. And then other thing which I found, that when I was starting, that family was neglected many times, even my own health was neglected. So as I progressed, I realized that as an entrepreneur you need to take out time for the family as well as your health. So some of the changes which I'm like still making is like taking more time for the exercise, walks and all, that I think is required if you have to go into long entrepreneurship journey.
Okay, so
Because the kind of sector that we are working in, especially entrepreneurship, it takes a lot of physical and mental toll also.
correct. So basically prioritizing your health
Yeah.
along with
Yeah, and
work.
then also at your personal level, one has to, uh, keep on reminding oneself that why you have started this, and if you and try to get into that contentment mode. Otherwise, it becomes sometimes very difficult. That okay, my friends are earning this much package. I am here. If I would have not done this, I would be earning this. I would have gone to Maldives. So those kind of thoughts one needs to be careful of before joining and have to make those kind of adjustments,
Okay.
why they have chosen this, and there are pros and cons.
Okay, and my question was just that, like, how easy or difficult is it to sort of implement this?
So it requires discipline, and one of the key things that I have realized is that a strong support system is required, both of the family and the ecosystem and all. So for me, many of the times when I had this problem, I got a lot of support from the fellow entrepreneurs, and some of them were from the CIE network and all. Those who have succeeded as well and those who have failed. So from their journey, from their lessons also, it helped me make certain changes or adjustments. It okay, whether I am the only one who is facing this problem or others have faced it.
Right.
So that kind of also helped.
Okay, so talking about the entire support system, when we look at the support that the ecosystem has offered to you, you were also a part of the Financial Inclusion Lab. So how do you think a support like this, an accelerator or programs like this, support you in the entire journey, supported you in the entire journey?
So for us, CIE support has been great, because apart from the monetary support that we got, that helped us in launching our product and all, we got a lot of non-monetary support from their technical assistance partner, MicroSave Consulting. They did for us this customer researches and all, and that helped my team think that okay, we can go beyond our initial target segment, which was auto drivers. We were very much focused on the auto drivers. So those customer researchers helped us think, okay, we can look at other segments also. What are the other products we can look? And apart from the liquid mutual fund, which we started. So those researchers, kind of helped us. Then at the same time, a lot of this CIE network helped give us a lot of business partners, because we moved into, after auto drivers, into handloom handicraft space. So their CIE support in introducing to such organizations was quite helpful.
Okay, all right.
And in many cases, we also got a lot of references for the financial product providers from both MicroSave and CIE.
Okay. So you've already spoken about some of the learnings or some of the financial sort of discipline that you had to bring in. But apart from that, when you look at the entire journey from start to so far, what do you think some of your biggest learning were, or some of your lessons were, and how do you think that has sort of impacted your life?
So one of my biggest learning, and which I want others also who are starting to, getting into the entrepreneurship thing, is that taking investment should not be just like, okay, someone is giving money, just take it. You have, the way the investor is doing your due diligence, you should also do the due diligence of the investor. And you have to see that whether the investor's mission and your mission is aligning, and where there is a fit or not, or whether that investor can bring you a strategic strengths or not. So those things I learned, and I also learned the importance of equity. So I realized that in the starting phase, the founders should have majority of the equity, and they should be careful before parting away this equity. So this was one of my major learning. Second learning was that tech should be an enabler. uh, Many times when we get into this field, we'll hear so much about fintech, this tech, agri-tech and all. So sometimes what happens is, tech looks more like a sexy or jazzy word, and there's also a pressure from the investors also. So you tend to forget the problem, and you focus on building a world-class tech, and it may not serve the low-income segment that you are solving for. So for us also, it happened. Like we built a good app, but our customers were not so used to using app to save the money. So instead of just going around the app, okay, we should have gone back and saw, okay, whether our customers need the app or they need the savings instrument, and is there any other way to solve it. So this is another my second learning, which is there for the tech. And the third is, if someone is getting into this entrepreneurship, and especially for the women's, they should see first that they have, whether they have the enough financial buffer to survive for say next 2 or 3 years, because there could be a funding winters and all. And second, they have enough family support or not, because at times it could be very challenging that your business is not going down well, and plus at the same time you don't have the support of your family members, because unlike your regular job, it's difficult to give the family that much time which you can give in a regular job. So these things I realized, which some of the things I might not have thought of when I started, but I think these are my lessons and others can think when they are starting.
Okay. And what do you think was the biggest factor that kept you going?
So my biggest factor which keeps me even going now is when I get the customer calls without me calling them, or my customer service team calling us and telling us that we saved this much amount in Lakshya, it solved this much problem, and after, for some reason, when we couldn't save in Lakshya, we have never saved. So these kind of stories, or when we get these insurance claim customers call, he, we never knew that something in 200 anyone can buy insurance. You guys have brought this insurance, and this saved us from taking a debt of 20,000 rupees.
Right.
So that's the kind of impact stories when we hear, and we feel that we are making a difference in the people's life. And one thing from these stories, what me and my team have realized, that this impact doesn't remain in this one generation of people.
Correct.
It falls to next, second, or third generation. So if this person who didn't have insurance would have taken a debt, and this another two generations would have been paying that. So when we hear those stories, okay, my next two generations got saved because of this insurance or the savings habit, that keeps us motivated.
Okay. So I think that is very interesting to hear. But I also understand that you had to close down Lakshya, and you faced a lot of challenges, and you were able to overcome some of them. But the ultimate outcome was not very favorable. So how was the entire experience for you, and how did you manage the whole thing?
So initially, I was dejected, and I can say shattered also. And there, I think one of the roles which CIE or MSC has played, that they did not let their founders feel like a failure. You will keep on getting mails from them, keep on getting invitations from them, still inviting for the events. So that also helps the founders who had to close down to, okay, to come up over that and feel that, okay, they were not responsible so much, and it doesn't reflect on that they were the reasons for the failure. So that helped me also. And then I managed to start something now again, and which is in the similar field. So I overcome that Lakshya journey.
Okay.
And people still remember us by Lakshya, and for them, they feel it's just a cover change, because we are in a similar field. So it's good for us now.
Okay. So you are taking all your learnings and lessons from Lakshya to
the newer organization. So now we are going slow and steady, and trying not to repeat the mistakes, some of the mistakes of Lakshya, and maybe create new mistakes, but not repeat the old ones.
Okay, all right. Okay. So coming to the final sort of a question, I think you've already spoken a lot about your learnings and everything that you've learned throughout the entire journey. But if you had to pass it on to, say, a new entrepreneur or someone who's just starting, out. What do you think would be your piece of advice for them?
So for me, the piece of advice would be they need to understand that entrepreneurship is not just being a celebrity; it's a business, and they should think like traditional business folks, like the way traditional business communities in India have thought. They should treat entrepreneurship like a business and then enter thinking, and not treat it as a overnight success mode. And they should be, because I have heard these statements, okay, I'm bored of wearing formals in the office. Should I join a startup? So, startup is not just wearing casual wear or flexible timings. It has a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of tears. So, if anyone is getting into that, they should have a strong passion, enough financial resources, a buffer of 2 3 years before getting into this. This would be my main advice to the people who are starting. And lastly, those who want to do something in the lower income segment, they should be mindful that when they are developing something for the lower income segment, it will take a lot of time to show results, and they need to have patience. And in India, getting patient capital for such ventures is also difficult. So they should
Right.
be cognizant of this fact, and accordingly take the decisions and plan accordingly.
Okay. So what you're saying is keep the glamour aside and focus more on
The business, they
business.
should think just it is like any business that they would do, and it is not just a way of like Shark Tank glory or something. It involves a lot of tears and sweat.
Okay. Thanks so much, Sonal. This was quite insightful, and I'm sure a lot of new entrepreneurs or people who are in the journey would be able to relate to what we've just shared. So, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Shweta, for inviting.